Okay, well it is 5:30, so we are going to get started. If you are watching this live or if you watch the replay after, please comment on the video, and if you share the video, which I would appreciate it and love it if you did that, please make a comment that you've shared, because what I am going to do is on Thursday, because our ordering deadline goes through Wednesday, on Thursday, I will do a drawing for all of the people that comment or share. And if you share and your privacy settings are not set to where I can tell that you shared, I need for you to comment on here saying that you shared, and then I will put your name in the drawing, and you will get a set of the 3 cards that we are going to make today. So if you want to be in that drawing, please comment on the video and you will be entered in that. So today we are going to be using the Reindeer Fun. This is probably, like I said a minute ago, thank you, Tammy, one of my favorites. In addition to the great stamps that are in here, you also get, if I can open it, tons of these dies. And these are so cute. And we're going to use quite a few of these today. I've already die cut everything. And if you place an order with me by Wednesday the 6th using this host code, and if your order is $35 or more, then I will send you the card kit to make the cards that we are doing today. Everything in your card kit will be cut, die cut, die cut, dry embossed, and punched for you. I don't think anything on here today is punched, but if it was, I would have that done for you. And then you will receive the card kit to make all of these. And so they are just a lot of fun. And I just realized there's one stamp that I did not pull out. Let me get that one and load that real quick. So I hope you are all excited about the weekend. That is always nice to reach Friday afternoon and be getting ready to take a break from our weekly obligations or whatever you normally have going on during the week. So after I get through with these cards, I am going to show you the club cards that I have this month that are really pretty using the Winterly Treetops. So I will show you those, and then I will also show you, I'm using this same set in a retreat that I'm doing. And if you're interested in getting that retreat to go, you can go to my website at inkycreationsbylinda.com. And you can see the information for that retreat and see a link there that will give you the registration information. Also, if you would like to join my email list so that you can stay up to date on different card kits and classes and retreats that I do, please go to my website and it will give you a pop-up to sign up for that email list also. All right, so let's get started with our first card. The first one is going to use a Pool Party cardstock base. And this one, I really like this Pool Party color with these. So it's just something that I probably wouldn't have thought to put together. So on this one, I'm going to grab a sheet of paper to put as a background. The first thing that we're going to do is we are going to use Pool Party ink, and then we will take the bells stamp that is in this set, and we are going to use it to stamp around the border before we put anything else down. And when I do this, I do stamp off before I actually stamp on the card, just so I can just kind of get a hint of that. Looks like my ink pad may need to get re-inked. Let me do that real quick. I didn't realize it was this low. I used it quite a bit earlier this week to design some stuff, and then I had it sitting in a bin. Oh, there it is. Okay, so then I'm just going to use a plastic spoon and kind of spread that ink around to make sure it doesn't all pull up in one part. Okay, doke. Okay, so let's try this again, and maybe this time it will ink a little better. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay, so we're going to stamp off with this. And since it didn't really show up that much before. And then we're just going to stamp all around the sides of this. Just to kind of give it a hint of these bells, but not be super obvious. And some of these end up being just a little bit darker than others, and I kind of like that because it gives it a little bit of variation. But you can stamp yours however you would like. Some of them I'm pressing a little harder than others, so that's part of the reason for the variation. There we go. All right, so we don't want this to be, you know, just super obvious, just kind of all around and just kind of give a hint of these bells in the background is what we're kind of going for. All right, so now what we're going to do is I don't think I said this is Pool Party, and it is just an 8.5 by 5.5 cardstock base that is scored at 4 1/4. And so we are going to use that as our base. And then we have a deckled rectangle in real red. And this one is approximately 3 1/8 by 4 1/2. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell exactly what it is. And then what we are going to do is we have a piece of designer series paper. Isn't that cute? I love these deer, especially with the candy cane. It's so fun. We are going to, this is 2 3/4 by 4 1/8. And when I cut this, I try to make it to where the deer is kind of in the middle so that it looks like I planned it that way, which is always fun. So we are going to adhere this to the real red deckled rectangle. So let's use some glue. So I'm curious if you're watching or if you're watching the replay later, do you like green glue or Stampin' Seal? It really kind of depends on what I am doing as to whether I use which one, but I have gotten to where I do use the green glue a little more just because it gives me some extra time for wiggle room. And sometimes I don't get it on straight right at first, so it's kind of nice to have that extra moment. All right, so then what we're going to do is we are going to take this and use dimensionals and put this in the center of our card. So we have a brand new thing of dimensionals, and when I'm getting the first one, I just kind of bend it up to crack these so that I don't have to dig down and figure out how to pull these off, because sometimes they can be a little bit tricky. Do you guys have any big weekend plans this weekend? I always enjoy this time of year. It's just, especially once we get past Halloween and we're looking forward to fall and Thanksgiving and all of that. I really enjoy the month of November because I feel like it's just a time to kind of get all the fun things ready for the holidays without the stress yet, which is always fun. All right, and then we have a piece of the Bells DSP, and we are going to cut this at 2 3/4 by 4 1/8. And then we have a piece of pecan pie cardstock that is 3 by 1 1/4. And I am just going to adhere this together and put this to where it is stacked. All right, so we have that. So then we are going to go ahead and use dimensionals on that as well and kind of put this toward the bottom. I tried to put it to where it wouldn't cover up my deer. And so I did push it down just a little bit on this one. And it really kind of depends on how you cut that designer series paper. So if you do place an order for 35 or more, I will try to make sure that your deer is kind of on the upper part in the middle to make sure that you can do that. So let's use some dimensionals and put that together. And by the way, if you do place an order when you get your card kit, it will include the twine that you'll need to make these cards. I will not have the peppermint embellishments in there, but if your order is $50 or more, I will include the peppermint embellishments. So, all right, and then we're just going to put this on here and just kind of place it to where it goes to the edge of the rectangle, but it doesn't cover up the deer's feet. Okay, and then on our label, and this was cut with the the changing leaves dies, I am going to stamp with Real Red, Merry Christmas. You know, one thing I do want to do is, let me just kind of test my red ink, because I noticed the other day that some parts of it were juicier than others, and sometimes, okay, well that's actually pretty even, so good. I just want to make sure that it's not going to be super dark in some spots and not as dark in others. All right, so let's stamp this. Okay, and then we are going to use dimensionals to put that in the middle of that rectangle with the bells. So I'm going to go ahead and use the larger ones. Whoops, here we go. And we are going to put it just kind of in the center. And then we are going to tie a bow with our Real Red twine, which is always super fun. And I did a double bow with this. So I'm just going to take, whoops, it's sticking to my fingers. I'm just going to take this and kind of loop it over and then just tie a bow. You can kind of shape this to the size that you want it to be. I don't want it to be super large, so I will just do that. And then we will use a mini glue dot. Yes, Tammy, I saw your message. The retreat box does come with the twine. It will also come with all of the embellishments that you need, and there will be about $50 worth of product in there from Stampin' Up. And so it's a pretty good deal, along with a lot of pillow gifts and fun things. All right, we're just going to trim that bow. All right, so there is card number 1. So we can go to card number 2. So our second one is going to use a garden green card base. And again, this is 8.5 by 5.5 with scored at 4 1/4. And I did go ahead and fussy cut some of these things out ahead of time so that you would not have to watch me do all of that. I usually try to tie my bows ahead of time too, but obviously that didn't happen today. It has been a crazy week at work this week. Month end is usually crazy, but it was just crazier than normal. So it's nice to be Friday afternoon and I don't have to think about it for a few days. So that's always good. All right, so this is garden green and it's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then we have a sheet of this designer series paper with the Tammy, I'll show all the cards again at the end. But this is the Christmas lights, and it is at 4 by 5 1/4. So we are going to glue that onto the center of the card front. And I think this granny apple green that's in the background of this is so pretty. All right, so then now what we are going to do is we have a piece of real red that is 4.5 by 3 1/4, and then a piece of white, basic white, that is 4 1/4 by 3 inches. And so we're going to do our stamping. So I'm going to set that off to the side for a minute. And let's see if we can do our stamping. So the first thing we're going to stamp is Christmas is Better Together. And we're going to do that in real red. And it's going to be in the upper right-hand corner. Sometimes I feel like I'm getting my head right where the camera is. Aw, man. You have to love it whenever your ink does that. So you know what? We are going to turn this over and do it again on the other side so it doesn't smudge. There we go. All right, so let's try this again. Actually, you know what? I'm going to cut another piece of cardstock because I don't want that to show on the back. So let me do that really quick. So this is 4 1/4 by 3. See if we can do a little better job the second time around. All right, so 4 1/4. Actually, move that. We're going to do the 3 inches and then do the 4 1/4 the other way. All right, by 4 1/4. All right, so now we can start fresh. Sometimes that ink will do that. Tell you what, I'm going to kind of clean off this ink too, or the stamp itself, just to make sure I get all the excess off. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, so let's try this again. All right, so we're going to stamp Real Red up in the upper right-hand corner and try not to have ink everywhere. It was like on ink overload. There we go. That looks a lot better. I'm kind of glad we redid that because that really did not go well. I think I just re-inked that pad not too long ago, and sometimes they do that whenever you re-ink them. Okay, so the other thing that we're going to use is we're going to use Garden Green, and we are going to stamp some trees down at the bottom. So what we're going to have is we're going to have our reindeer down here. So I want to stamp 3 trees around here, so I'm going to kind of put him there for a moment just so I can see where to stamp these. And that way we can tell where they're going to show up. So we want to do one about right here. And then we're going to do the next one just a little bit higher. And then the last one, there we go. Put it just a little lower. There we go. Kind of like that. And then we can put him kind of right here in the middle of all of them. So let's go ahead and adhere this to our Real Red cardstock. So again, this Real Red was 4.5 by 3 1/4. So we're going to put some adhesive on the back of this. Sometimes when I'm gluing on white, I try not to put a ton of glue on it because I don't want it to, you know what? Oh no, that's right. I don't want it to show a lot of streaks on the front. Okay, so there we go. All right. Okay, so before you adhere this to your card front, what we're going to do is take some of our twine and we are going to wrap this kind of along the center right here with this. So what I want to do before I do that is use our tear and tape and put down some tear and tape just to kind of make it to where it can grab that in the beginning. So let's find our edge. Here we go. And we'll just put, and there's not really a science to this. It's just mainly to get it down so that you can have something to snag the edge of that and hold it in place for you. And then what we'll do is we'll peel off the edges of this, or the top layer, I should say. And then we will just take the end and kind of figure out where you want it to go. And again, the good thing about using the tear and tape is you can always adjust it. So we'll just do that and kind of wrap it around. I like to kind of twist these a little bit just to give it a little bit of extra, I don't know. I want to use the word character, but I don't think that's really it. But just to give it a little bit of extra dimension, I guess. And then what's nice is now you've got that holding on to it. And so we're just going to use our snips and trim the edge of that. And then to make sure that it stays in place, what I like to do is come back with another piece of the tear and tape and form what I heard one person call a sandwich. So now you've got some on the top and some below it, and it kind of just holds it in place. Okay, so there we go. And we can set that off to the side. So now what we're going to do, we are going to adhere this with dimensionals, but I go ahead and take the top layer of this tear and tape off just to give it some extra sticky. And then we are going to use dimensionals. And see, this looks like it could, no, it's actually pretty good. Okay. Just want to, if you want to adjust it any, make sure you adjust it before you put it down on the other layer. But I think that's pretty good, actually. So, all right, so let's use some dimensionals. And we are going to just take the tops of those off. You know, it's funny because when I do this on my own, I feel like they just pop right off. And sometimes on a video, you're like, why can I not get that off? All right, so make sure we're putting our card in the right direction, which we are. And then we are just going to center this kind of in the middle. And try to get it straight. Okay? And so now we're going to use dimensionals and kind of put this little guy right here. This is so cute. I just think some of the expressions of the animals and all of that are just really cute. So I did use dimensionals also on the reindeer just to give him a little bit of height. And just to kind of make it look 3D, which is always kind of fun. All right, so we're just going to kind of put him right there. And then we are going to use our twine. And this time we're going to tie what I call a triple bow with 3 strands. So to do that, I just kind of pull this over, loop it. It's probably a little bit too long. There we go. And then just do the same thing one more time. And then I don't cut it right away. That way, if for some reason I figure out that my twine is either too short or too long, then I can always go back and redo it. But if you cut it, you're kind of, whoops, see, that one's not doing so well. Okay, let's try this again. All right, so we will loop this around. Let's see. Sometimes the more strands you get, the harder it is to make sure you pick up the right thing whenever you pull it through. So here we go. And then this way, and sometimes what I also like to do is just pull like some of the individual different strings or strands, whichever you want to refer to it as, just so your bow has a little bit more, everything's not the same exact length. So, all right, and then we'll use a glue dot and we will put this on our card. Oh, you know what? I think one step we missed on that first card was I don't think we put any of our peppermints on there. So we're going to go back and do that here in like 2 seconds. All right, so let's cut that. I did not even notice that beforehand. I think I was so excited to get one done so quickly, I just kind of forgot. So let's do this one and then we'll pull the other one back up. So we've got quite a few of our peppermints here. I have used a lot of these on my samples and different things that I've done. So we are just going to kind of randomly put these, and I just think these are so cute. And obviously, as much as they have sold out of these over the course since this catalog went live, a lot of other people think they're cute too. So, all right, so then we'll do, I need to trim that ribbon too. We'll do one right here. Let's go ahead and trim this. So we're just going to kind of, and I like to cut these at an angle so that they're not all the same exact length. Let me see if I can do this It's hard to do it sometimes and not bump the phone, because I don't want you to feel like you're dizzy. All right, and then let's do one more kind of up here, just below the words. There we go. All right, so now this has a little bit more decoration to it. So here is our second card. All right, let's fix the peppermints on the first one so that you can see what it was supposed to look like as opposed to the way that we ended up doing it. So we are going to just put, as you can tell, I'm almost out of the medium size on this one. So we will pull some from this other pack that's over here. We'll stick one right here. We'll do a big one kind of over here. And then we'll do another big one. Tell you what, we'll put it right here. And then we'll do a smaller one down here. Yeah, there we go. So there's card number 1, and now we have the embellishments on it, which is nice. Okie doke. All right, so let's do our final card, and I promise you I will not forget stuff on this one. So I will tell you that one of the cards I'm doing in the retreat is very comparable to this one. And it is probably my favorite Christmas card that I have done this season. I just think it's so, so cute. So on this one, we are using a Granny Apple green card base. And again, it is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And so it is just a normal cardstock base. By the way, if you do place your order, when I send you these, I always give you a piece of white cardstock or something that coordinates to go on the inside. I don't give instructions to stamp the inside for the Facebook Lives, but if you order any of my card kits that I do on a monthly basis, I do usually decorate or do some form of stamping on the inside, and I always include that. But even on these, even though I'm not doing anything on the inside, I do give you the cardstock for that. All right, so for this one, we have a piece of real red, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. And then we have a piece of white that is dry embossed with the snowflake sky, and it used the die cut on the top part of this to cut this out. And so this is one of my favorite things about this set, is being able to do this. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to adhere the red to the Granny Apple green. And then before we put the white down, we do have a couple of other steps. So I will show you those. So let's glue this down first. All right, and just put that in the center of your cardstock. All right, so the other thing that you're going to have in your kit is a piece of the white glimmer that are the light bulbs. So what we are going to do is we are going to use our blends. Let me get a piece of scratch paper so I don't get ink everywhere. And we are going to color these to where it's really kind of neat, because whenever you put the blends on them, it still keeps the bling, so it makes it kind of fun. So we are going to use, make sure I'm getting the right colors. Okay, so we are going to use dark blueberry bushel, dark daffodil delight, and then dark Granny Apple green. And we are going to just color these different bulbs in this. So I like to use the blunt tip end just because that way I can kind of control it a little more. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's 9 total bulbs on this, so you'll end up with 3 of each color. Okay, so we have, there's our blue. We'll do another one right here. And I'll show you this up close in a second, but it's kind of nice because it keeps the shine even though you're using the blend on top of it, which is kind of fun. Okay, so there's our blue. And again, that was Blueberry Bushel. And then we are going to use the Daffodil Delight next. And you know, it's funny because, like, you know, the colors in the paper, or the pool party and the garden green, and it does have granny apple green, but it doesn't have Blueberry Bushel. It does have pool party, which I guess is a little bit lighter shade of the Blueberry Bushel, but it all goes really well together. All right, and then we'll use the granny apple green. And then we'll kind of let this sit here for a second so that we don't wind up with ink everywhere. But I will show you this up close and show you how it keeps the glimmer even though you use the blends on it, which is kind of fun. So, and I left the strand white because it's actually going to go against the red cardstock, which will make it stand out a little more. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to take this, and before, I'm going to use dimensionals to put this down, but before I put that down, I kind of want to position this as to where I need it. And so I'm going to do that to see if that's about where it needs to go, and it looks like it is. So I am going to just use glue dots and put on the back of this to adhere this down. So let me get my Take Your Pick tool and some glue dots. And just put, and you don't have to do one on every single light bulb. I think I did it, I don't know, on about 3 of them, because I just wanted to make sure it was going to stay, but I didn't want it to be just full of glue either. All right. So we'll do one on the end, and that's the other thing too. The 2 on the end end up being kind of underneath your embossed frame. So really the only one, I guess, that could possibly be seen. 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, I think it's going to go right here. So that's why I try to just make sure we get it. So before I like press down, I'm going to kind of just set it there and then just kind of hold this over it to see if I like the placement of it. And I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and push that down. Okay. And then we will use, before we use dimensionals on this, we are going to stamp some pool party snowflakes on this. Okay, so we'll get our pool party ink. Whoops. And that's one nice thing is, even though this is dry embossed, you can still do some stamping on it, and it ends up kind of giving it just a little bit more dimension. So I'm just going to use this. I'm not going to do a lot, but I'm just going to do a few just to kind of add something extra. And you can stamp off if you'd like. I did some stamped off and some not, and I was okay with them either way, to be honest. So it's kind of whatever you want to do. And I didn't do a lot, just about 4 things like that. And that was kind of just enough just to kind of fill it in a little bit, but not saturate it. So we are now going to use dimensionals on the back of this and put this on our card front. So we'll put one there. We'll do one up here. Then we'll do a couple, and we may do a couple around the frame just to make sure that it has a little bit more stability since it is kind of die cut out. All right, so then we are going to take this, just kind of put this in the center. I think, is that, maybe we'll lower it just a little. There we go. Yeah, because this is a little bit tighter fit than like the granny apple green and the red is. Okay, so there we go. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to build our deer. I think this is one of the funnest things. So this is in early espresso, and then we have the second layer in basic beige, and then the top layer is in pecan pie. So we are going to just glue these together and make our deer. Okay, so what I do is I just kind of turn them over, and I am pretty light with my glue because I don't want to have glue oozing out. So I try to not put tons. It doesn't take a lot. So we'll just put just a little. And then when I put these guys together, I try to hold it in my hand so that I can make sure I get the shape and the edges where I want them. And then I press down just to make sure that everything adheres in the right spot. Okay, so now we'll do the pecan pie on top of that one. So again, I don't use a lot of glue on this because it really doesn't take a lot. So we will kind of hold him, put him together, make sure all of the edges match, and then just press down. And then we have it. So now he has this super cute little look on his face. And then I die cut one of the wreaths with the garden green glimmer paper. And we are going to attach him to that. So to do that, I am just going to slip him in here and just put a little bit of glue at the bottom right there. So let me put just a tad, it doesn't take much, at the bottom of your deer. There we go. That's about all we need. In fact, that could almost be too much. Hopefully it won't be. Whoops. I just noticed our pecan pie moved just a little. There we go. So then we will put him like that. I do have a little bit of glue seeping out. Let me grab a wipe. Here we go. All right, so I kind of wiped that off just a little. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to just kind of put him, I'm going to move him down just a little because I don't want his antlers to cover up the light bulbs behind him. And then we are going to use a dimensional to attach him. Okay, so we'll turn him over. And the other thing that I like to do is when I put the dimensionals on, kind of overlap the deer and the wreath so that it kind of just reinforces that. And you can also do it up here just to kind of make sure that he doesn't move around a lot. And we'll do one right there. There we go. And then again, we are going, whoops, to just kind of put him in the center. All right. Okay, so now the last step is we have a piece of real red that is 1 1/4 by 3 3/4, and we have a label cut with the Stylish Shapes dies, and we are going to stamp on this with real red ink, and it's going to say, "May all your days be full of cheer." And try to stamp this in the middle. Part of it is my light that I have here has a huge glare on this glass mat. Whoops. Which, there we go. And so sometimes getting it straight is a little more challenging than whenever I'm just stamping on my own. Okie doke. So we are going to, did I do dimensionals? I did. So we're going to use dimensionals to put that onto the real red. Actually, you know what? We're going to glue this down to here first, and then we will use dimensionals to attach that. So let's use our green glue again and just put a little bit of glue on there. And then I kind of went up underneath that wreath just a little so that I'm not covering it up, because I didn't want to do that. And then just kind of press down. And then whenever we put the dimensionals on our label, you will, again, just kind of tuck it up underneath that wreath. So I'm just going to use 2 dimensionals so that it doesn't compete with the reindeer. And we are just going to center this. Yep, that looks good. Okay, and then we are going to tie a double bow with our twine. So just kind of loop that over, tie a bow. Well, if I can get this. Here we go. And then pull that and just kind of reshape it to the size that you want it. Here we go. And then make this one just a little bit longer. Here we go. All right, we'll use a mini glue dot on that. And then on this one, I'll go ahead and cut it before I put it down. I just use this. They actually have a die cut for a bow to put on your deer, but I actually use this for our bow because I felt like it was just cute. So we will do that, and then we'll trim this to the length that you would like it. Just kind of do it right there. Here we go. Move that off to the side. I think I've got sticky on my finger and everything wants to stick to it. Okay, and then the last step is to throw some peppermints on here. So let's do that. So we're going to do one of the, let's see, we'll do one of the larger ones up here at the top. And then we'll do a smaller one over here, kind of on the side. These are just so stinking cute. Lots and lots of fun for sure. And then we'll do one over here. And then how about if we stick another one down here on the words? We'll just put one right there. And we'll do one more little one kind of up on the red, just to kind of give it a little bit of variance. So, all right. So here is card number 3. How fun. All right, so let me let you see all 3 of the cards that we made so that you can see what you will get in your card kit if you choose to place an order. And again, if you are watching the replay on this, if you will put a comment, or if you share the video, please comment that you shared so that I can put your name in a drawing, and whoever's name that I pull next Thursday, you will receive these 3 cards plus the envelopes that we made. So if you would like to be in that drawing, please either comment, share, and if you do share, you'll need to comment and tell me that you shared, because a lot of times, depending on your privacy settings, I can't tell that you actually shared. So please let me know that. Just to give you an idea, I do have a couple of things coming up. As I said earlier, if you go to my website at inkycreationsbylinda.com, you can see I have a card club that I do every month. The deadline to sign up for that is the 10th. And I do have a sneak peek for you of the cards that will be sent out in November. Can't believe it's November. But these are the cards we're doing this month. It's using the Winterly Treetops. And I think these came out really pretty. And they're just some nice winter cards. They're not necessarily for Christmas. You can make them Christmas if you would like. But you will receive enough supplies to make 2 of each one. It comes with everything cut, die cut, dry embossed for you and punched that's possible. And you will receive a half a pack of DSP along with all of the cardstock and everything you need to make these, plus the envelopes. And you can get information on that on my website. Also, if you would like to be added to my email list, if you will go to my website, it will give you the information for that. And here are the cards we are doing for the retreat. There is also information on my website about the retreat. So these are just a lot of fun. Here's just a sneak peek of these, but they are just super fun. So you will get everything you need to make 2 of each of these, along with 3 tags. You'll get enough stuff to make 2 of each of the 3 tags, as well as 2 3D projects. And the price for that, including shipping, if I remember correctly, so you'll probably want to check the website just to be sure, but I believe it's $99. And so you will receive a full pack of DSP and all the embellishments, all the twine, everything you need. Plus, there's also some iridescent striped trim in there. And I think I also used the Drucy embellishments on 1 or 2 of those cards. So you will receive about $50 in product for that particular retreat box to go, plus a lot of fun pillow gifts. So, and a retreat bag. So there will be a lot of fun things. So again, just to kind of finish off, if you would like a kit to make these 3 card kit, or these 3 cards plus the envelopes, please place your order using this host code by Wednesday, November 6th at midnight of $35 or more. You will receive everything in there to make these cards. With the twine included, it will not include the embellishments, but if you would like a full pack of the embellishments, if your order is $50 or more, I will add that into your card kit. So if you have any questions, please comment below and I will be happy to get with you. And again, thank you so much for joining or for watching the replay, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.